Now, by the end of season 3, we learn that the creatures made a deal with some kind of entity, something they call it. Now, could the man in yellow be it? So today I want to explore who this figure really is, what we actually know from the show, and some of the wildest and most convincing theories out there. But before we jump in, of course, this is if you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But if you enjoy this type of content, deep dives, theories, breakdowns, I would greatly appreciate if you could like, subscribe, comment, and share. I mean, you know the whole spiel, but it really does help this channel grow, and I appreciate every bit of support. With that being said, let's try to understand who the man in yellow really is.
That was a hell of a song.
The first time we technically encounter the man in yellow is all the way back in season 1. Though we don't see him, we hear him. When Jim and Jade get the radio tower working at the colony house, a voice cuts through the static. It's calm, it knows Jim's name, and it delivers a specific warning.
Your wife shouldn't be digging that hole, Jim.
At the time, we had no idea who was speaking, but by the end of season 3, we finally find out. But before the reveal though, the show gives us a subtle visual clue. In season 3, episode 2, Tabitha is taken into the basement of Victor's house, where she sees the paintings that Miranda, Victor's mom, drew.
She said it was a place that was everywhere, but you couldn't find it if you tried.
Oh my god. Now here's where it gets interesting. Miranda wasn't in the town yet when she created those paintings. According to Victor's dad, they both took acid one night, and afterwards, the visions started. She saw disturbing images in her head, symbols, creatures, strange people, and felt compelled to paint them. And among those early paintings, a man in a yellow suit. That's our first visual clue. Long before the finale, long before the kill, he was already in the story, just hidden in plain sight. Then comes the season 3 finale, and we finally meet the man in yellow. Jim returns to the RV, and moments later, his daughter Julie appears. She has a scratch on her face, she looks panicked and begging him to return. And that's when he shows up. Calm, smiling, and in broad daylight. He says the exact same line from the radio.
Your wife shouldn't have dug that hole, Jim.
That's how we know it was him on the radio all along. And just like that, he kills Jim. No creature form, no hesitation, just raw, deliberate power. So, we've heard him, we've seen his image in Miranda's visions, and now we've seen what he's capable of. Which brings us to the next question. What makes him different from everything else in town? There are a few key things that separate the man in the yellow suit from the other creatures we've seen and from. The first and most obvious is that he appears during the day. No hiding in tunnels, no waiting for nightfall. He just shows up in the open like he's not bound by the same rules. Visually, he's also different. The creatures, when they're in human form, they looked soft, almost too clean. Their skin is silky smooth. Their expression is calm. And despite living in underground caves, their clothes look crisp. But the man in the yellow suit doesn't have that polished feel. His face looks older, tired, worn down, and his clothes dirtier, rougher, more lived in. Nothing about him feels like a disguise. So the creatures might be terrifying, but this guy, he's something else entirely. And all of this brings us yet to another question. Who or what is he really? So let's get into those theories. Now this first one is a little bit too on the nose, and that is, he's it. Let's start with what we know. In season 3, Fatima reveals this.
I saw what they are. They sacrificed their children because it promised them that they would live forever.
But we never actually see it. Now let's jump to the final moments of season 3. The man in the yellow suit finally shows up, and unlike the other creatures, he doesn't wait for nightfall, doesn't need permission to act. and doesn't play games. He delivers a warning and then he kills. Here's where it connects. What if the man in the yellow suit is it? The entity who made the deal, the one pulling the strings, the one keeping the cycle going. But there's another layer to this. In the same way that the boy in white shows up to guide, help, and protect, this guy seems like the opposite. He's the other side of the coin. The boy in white breaks the rules to free people. The man in yellow enforces the rules to keep them trapped. Now let's move on because this one is also very interesting. One of the most in-depth and compelling theories about the man in the yellow suit comes from Reddit user Score15, who suggests that he's literally Hoster, the cosmic entity from the Cthulhu mythos, or heavily inspired by him. The connections start with the obvious, the color yellow. In Lovecraftian lore, yellow isn't just a visual theme. It symbolizes decay, madness, and dread. The man in the yellow suit is head to toe in it, and Fromville itself radiates those exact vibes, but it goes deeper. Hastur is known for creating inescapable, cursed spaces where reality starts to break down, exactly like this town. The monsters too support this idea. They're not random, they follow rules, and seem to carry out a larger purpose. Scorer 15 argues that they might be servants of the man in yellow, enforcing his will just like Hastur's minions do in myth. The talismans that protect the townspeople also fit the pattern. Lovecraftian stories often include mysterious symbols or artifacts that hold back cosmic entities. Maybe the theory suggests that the talismans are what keep the man in yellow from taking full control. There's also the psychological aspect. Hoster doesn't destroy people physically. He breaks them down emotionally and mentally. The fear, the paranoia, and the despair seen throughout From feels orchestrated, like part of a larger system meant to feed off suffering. And finally, there are strong parallels to The King in Yellow by Robert Chambers, a story about a cursed play that drives people insane. The idea of being trapped in a narrative forced to repeat patterns and losing one's grip on reality matches From's tone almost perfectly. Now, the next theory that we're going to be discussing is less cosmic, but still fascinating, and it comes from Reddit user CutiePatootie8896, who suggests that the man in the yellow suit might be a twisted version of a 1950s radio or TV host. Now, it might sound out there at first, I agree, but let's get into it and let me know what you think. The town is full of 1950s energy. The jukebox in the diner, the monsters' vintage outfits, the diner's design, even the music that plays randomly. According to the theory, the man in yellow might not just be mimicking this era. He could be the one who designed the town to look and feel that way. A kind of control through nostalgia scenario. Now, CutiePatootie8896 points out that back in the black and white television days, yellow suits were commonly used on set because they appeared white on screen without overexposing the image, suggesting there could be a deliberate visual choice behind this look. They also note that his voice, especially when speaking to Jim, sounds exactly like how an old school game show or radio host would speak.
That Jade sure can play.
This could explain his theatrical presence and how he seems to observe rather than act until it's absolutely necessary. The theory also ties him to the random songs that play in the diner and even to the taunting rhyme Kenny hears on the phone.
Hello?
Suggesting the man in yellow uses old media to communicate, torment, and maintain control. However, there's no canon confirmation, but if he's the one broadcasting the rules of the town like it's his own deranged show, then Fromville might not just be a prison, it might be his program. I don't know about you, but this theory really reminds me of something that would be in a Twilight Zone episode or in a Goosebumps episode. But that could just be me. Let me know what you guys think about this one too. Now, we know the show's already introduced reincarnation, time loops, and alternate timelines. Now, what if the man in the yellow suit is a future version of someone we already know? This theory was first brought to my attention by fellow YouTuber Mudlove Media and Reddit users like Successful Care 505 and Building More 8822 have been digging into it. The idea is that the man in yellow could be a future Ethan or maybe even Randall. Now let's talk about Ethan first. He's always been strangely in tune with the town. He understood the rules faster than most adults. He wears yellow, and he was there helping Tabitha dig the basement hole, the same hole the man in yellow warned Jim about over the radio. Building More 882 suggests that maybe the voice knew because he'd already lived it. Maybe he was there because he is Ethan, just older and on another cycle. They also pointed out that if Ethan does become the man in yellow, it would explain something huge. Why the voices told Sarah to kill him in season 1, promising they'd all get to go home. That always felt oddly specific, like they knew who Ethan really was. So if they were to kill Ethan, they would break the loop and everybody would escape.
And what's about to happen? It's gonna save everyone. Just like in one of your stories. You're gonna be the hero.
Randall is the other candidate. He survived the music box's influence, hears the cicadas, and has a growing connection to the town's strange rhythms. Some fans believe he's destined to become the man in yellow in a future loop, and that's why the creatures won't kill him. There's even a comparison image showing that Randall and the man in yellow wear what appears to be the same shirt. And while that's not exactly confirmation, From isn't a show that drops details like that without a reason. Now, is any of this confirmed? No, absolutely not. Where do you think we are, my friends? But if time doesn't move in a straight line and the town resets itself, then this theory is just plausible enough to keep us watching. I myself am leaning towards this being Ethan, but I do want to hear what you guys think. Do you think it's Randall? Do you think it's Ethan? Or do you think it's somebody else completely? But this is where we are right now. Who or what the man in the yellow suit really is, that's still up in the air. But whether he's a god, a demon, a cosmic entity, or someone we've known all along, one thing's clear. He's not just another monster. He's the problem. I would love to know what you think. Do you buy any of these theories? Got one of your own? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you think that everything I've said is bogus? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank everybody who took the time of day to watch or listen to this video. If you enjoy this type of content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And now remember, the important thing is to always keep questioning. Even me. Till next time.